Okay guys, today we're going to work on 10-5 exponential functions, and as you can see I already have one problem up. This is problem number 1 from your homework. So the instructions are to graph each function, state the y-intercept, then use the graph to determine the approximate value of the given expression. Use a calculator to confirm this value. So what it is right over here we have y equals 2 to the x power, and that is our function right there. And right next to it, and after the semicolon, we have 2 to the 2.3 power, which we have to find out if where that crosses the y-axis. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is make a table. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So here's my table. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it in. Usually how we fill in the tables is we start with a negative number. I'm going to go ahead and start with -3 this time. Usually for these problems, -3 and going down usually takes care of it. Alright, so here I have my x's. Now I just need to plug them into my exponent right here, and I have my problem solved. So let's go ahead and get started with 2. We're going to start from the bottom because those are usually easier. So for the first one we have y equals 2 to the second power, which we know is 4. I'm going to put that in right there. Now we have exponent as 1, so y equals 2 to the first power, which we know is 2. Next one we have y equals 2 to the exponent of 0 over here, so 0. We know that any number to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Now we have the negative exponents. Now with the negative ones, they get pretty tricky. So follow along and let's see if we can fix that and make it so that you guys know how to do the problems with a negative exponent. So let's go ahead and plug this one in. So for this one, we're going to do -1 first. So we have y equals 2 to the -1 power. Now, as you know, as you found out in class, you cannot have -1 as a power. So you need to turn that power positive. The only way you could do that is by flipping the base that it is attached to. Now you can't flip 2 because it's not a fraction. So that means that you're not going to be able to turn -1 into +1 unless it is a fraction. So you need to make it a fraction by putting it over 1. Once you put it over 1, you can go ahead and flip it to 1/2, and then that turns the exponent positive. So 1/2 to the first power is 1/2. And now we do the same thing with 2. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and change this exponent to -2. Same thing, we got to flip this. So it's going to be y equals 1/2 to the second power because we turned it positive. So it's 1/2 times 1/2, which we know is 1/4. And for this one, the last one, we're going to have it to the third power, which, as we know, is going to be the same thing that we did before. So once again, we're going to go ahead and flip it. It's going to be 1/3, or I'm sorry, 1/2 to the third power, which is the same as 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. And all the ones on top equal 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So our answer is 1/8. So here I have all my points now. Now I'll go ahead and graph them. So let's go ahead and do this. X, we have -3, and it's 1/8, which is probably about right there. Then we have -2 and 1/4, which I'm guessing would be pretty close to the bottom as well. -1.5 would be about right there. 0 and 1 would be about right here. And then we have 1 and 2 right here, and 2 and 4 up here. So you can see our line starting to trend, and it looks like that. So this is an exponential function line. So we did it correctly. Now what it's asking us is to determine where this power, which is 2 to the 2.3 power, is going to be. So with this one, the power is 2.3, which means that 2.3 would be the x that we're going to find. So what we need to do is find out where we think 2.3 is on the number line, on the x-axis. So I'm going to say about 2.3 is about right here. So I'm going to start drawing a line going up as straight as I can, and I'm going to stop when I hit the line, which is about right there. So then I'm going to move it over because wherever that X is probably where this Y is, which is going to be right here. So I'm going to count where I think this is on Y. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not quite to 5, but pretty close. So I'm going to guess that for this one, my Y equals 4 and 3/4. So now I'm going to use my calculator to determine if this is correct. So remember, you learned how to do your calculator. You learned how to use the calculator today in class, how to figure this out. So all I'm going to do is punch in 2 to the power of 2.3, and we have 4.92, which is estimated is going to give you about 4.9, which is very close to 4 and 3/4. So I did a pretty good job of doing this. So my answer is Y equals 4 and 3/4, and it is also the graph that I have here. Alright guys, here we have another problem from our homework. This is number 4 on your homework. It is Y equals 3 to the power of X plus 2. Once again, it wants us to graph this one, and all we have to do is graph it and find the Y-intercept. So here I have my table. I'm going to go ahead and fill it out. Once again, I like to start this section with -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So let's start with the top because that's how we usually do it. So we'll start from the top this time. Y equals 3 to the -3rd power because that's our first X plus 2. So once again, we cannot have a negative exponent, so we need to flip this. We need to make it a fraction. So we're going to put 3 over 1, but flipped is going to be 1/3 times, or to the power of 3 plus 2. So 3, so first we have 1 to the 3rd power, which is 1. And 3 to the 3rd power is 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 2 is going to give us Y equals 2 and 1/27. So that's my Y, 2 and 1/27. The next one we're going to do is the -2 power. So we have Y equals 3 to -2 power plus 2. Once again, I got to flip this to make it positive, so it's going to be Y equals 1/3 squared plus 2. 1/3 squared is 1/9 plus 2. So Y equals 2 and 1/9. So that's my Y value for that one, 2 and 1/9. Now let's do -1. So we have Y equals 3 to the -1 power this time, plus 2. Once again, got to flip it. It's going to be Y equals 1/3 to the first power, plus 2. Anything to the first power is itself. So it's going to be Y equals 2 and 1/3. So that's Y for that one. The rest of them should be pretty easy. We know that 3 to the 0 power is going to be 1, and then 1 plus 2 is going to be 3, so I'll just go ahead and write that in. And we also know that 3 to the 1 power is going to be 3 plus 2 is going to be 5. And 3 to the second power is 9 plus 2 is going to be 11. So now we're going to go ahead and graph this. -3 and 2 and 1/27 is about right here, I'm going to guess. -2 and 2 and 1/9 is going to be about right there. 0, I'm sorry, -1 and 2 and 1/3 is going to be about right there. 0 and 3 will be right here. 1 and 5 will be right here. And 2 and 11 is going to be off the charts. So we won't see that one. It's probably going to be about right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill in my line. It's going to go from here to about right there. It's going to cut in right there. And that's about good. Now what you'll notice about this is that for once it is not on the x-axis. Usually they're hovering just above the x-axis or actually blend into it. The reason it is above the x-axis is that because of this plus 2 right here. That means whatever the function is that we're doing, it's going to give us the same kind of exponential function line, but it's going to be raised plus 2. If it was minus 2, it would be 2 below the x-axis, so that's what that does, and that's why that looks that way. Second part of this is to find the y-intercept. Now, we can go ahead and see that the y-intercept crosses at 3 right here, but to be more exact, we know that the y-intercept is when x equals 0. So right here we see x equals 0, so the y-intercept is 3. So there we go. There we have number 4. Good luck on this assignment, guys.